after this meeting here, this public meeting, we will be closing and then also going back into executive session tonight. I'd like to call the redevelopment meeting to order for Wednesday, April 8th. We'll go with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call Mrs. Malinowski.
Mr. Chippy.
Here.
Mr. Conley.
Present.
Mr. Troxel.
Here.
Mr. Schmidt.
Here.
Mr. Getzlaff.
Present.
Attorney Austin.
Present.
Chief Kruzan.
Here.
Deputy Chief Patterson.
Here.
Chief Dallin.
Here.
Deputy Chief Zagraffi.
Here.
Mr. Pintar. Mr. Hewitt.
Here.
Mr. Volkman.
Here.
Robin Teal. Janice Malinowski, present.
Thank you, Janice. The minutes of March 11th, 2015 public meeting, pleasure of the board. So moved. We have a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Are there any additional claims, Mrs. Malinowski?
No additional claims.
Pleasure of the board. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Correspondence or reports, Mr. Volkman?
No correspondence or reports.
Any staff members, council members? Okay, hearing none. There is no old business, we will go to new business. Consider request number 2 for disbursement from the 2013 beat bond series for Shops on Main Phase 2, Whole Foods, $1 million. Mr. Volkman?
Pursuant to the terms of the amendment to the financing agreement for Whole Foods, there were 2 payments. The first payment was when the developer pulled the building permits for the project, and the second one was when the building was completed, it was going to be turned over to Whole Foods for the interior construction. It is at that point, and it is appropriate to approve this payment tonight.
Thank you. Pleasure of the board.
Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. Troxel.
Yeah, I move that we consider request number 2 for disbursements of the 2013 B bond series for Shops on Main Phase 2, Whole Foods for a total of $1 million even.
Okay, we have a motion. Second. Second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Is there any business from the floor regarding redevelopment? Any business from the floor regarding redevelopment? Any business from the floor regarding redevelopment? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned, and we'll go on to the meeting for Waterworks.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Waterworks Board meeting for Wednesday, April 8th. The roll call will consist of the 3 councilmen minus Mr. Conley and Mr. Troxel. First item on the agenda is the minutes from the March 11th, 2015 meeting.
Motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Claims, any additional claims, Mr. Miles?
No additional claims.
Motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Correspondence, Mr. Hewitt or Mr. Volkman on Waterworks?
No correspondence.
Any reports on staff? No. Board members? There's no new business, no old business. At this time, I'll open up to the floor. Any questions about Waterworks? Any questions on Waterworks? No questions from the audience? We'll move to adjourn and we'll move right into the utility board meeting. I'd like to call the utility board meeting for Wednesday, April 8th. The roll call, please add Mr. Conley and Mr. Troxel back to the roll call. Minutes of the March 11th, 2015 public meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 5-0. Claims, Mrs. Malinowski, additional claims.
No additional claims at this time.
Mr. President, move to approve claims as presented. Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 5-0. Correspondence, any correspondence, Mr. Volkman, on utilities?
No correspondence or reports.
Any And once again, no old business, no new business. At this time, we'll open it to the floor for any business from the floor regarding utilities. Any business from the floor regarding utilities? No business, this meeting is adjourned. We'll move right into the town council meeting.
Call the order of the town council meeting for Wednesday, April 8th, 2015 at 7:23. Let the record reflect that the same members of the utility board are present for the town council meeting. The minutes of the March 11th, 2015 public meeting, pleasure of the council members.
So moved, Mr. President.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Claims, any additional claims, Ms. Malski, for town council?
No additional claims at this time.
Pleasure of claims from council members.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Any correspondence at this time? Mr.
No
Goldberg?
correspondence.
Reports, let's go through staff members right now. If, Mr. Hewitt, anything you report from Public Works?
It's on the, no report.
Mr. Fitzar?
No report.
Chief Cruzan?
Nothing to report this evening.
Chief Dowling?
No report.
Council members, anything to report this time?
Mr. Chairman, I learned today that in Reeder Park we have about, is it 22 trees, Jeff? 22 trees that are infected by the, what's the?
Emerald ash borer.
Emerald ash borer beetle. And they're marked with green X's and they will be removed over a period of time.
That is correct. Public Works is currently working on the ones that we're taking down. There will be a series of them, about half of them that'll have to be taken down by a tree company that has bigger trucks, bigger booms, and bucket trucks that we don't have. So
Is there a plan now to replace the 22 trees?
I believe John from Parks Department is working on something.
Yeah, we're actually, we saw this coming the last couple of years as the trees, some of the trees were already dead. And, if you remember the ones that, there were some pretty nice trees, especially around the pavilion, that last year, by the time the cornrows came around, you could see that they were extremely stressed and the foliage was depleted on them. So I've been talking to John, and we do want to have a replanting program that we want to introduce to the park board to reestablish the trees. There's in total over 800 trees that we've inventoried in the town with emerald ash borer, and almost just about half of them are in parkways, and the Public Works Department has been working on eradicating those trees, taking them all down.
And I think the biggest thing that we want to do is we want to plant some variety so that we don't run into this in the future. If we do get a blight on the trees of some type, we won't lose every single tree, as happened in the 60s with the Dutch elm disease and this latest round with the emerald ash borer. There's a lot of trees. There's 800 of them in town that are going to have to come down.
Okay. And hopefully we can plant some mature trees over in Reeder Park to try to bring that same atmosphere back again. So it's going to be quite vacant over there with all those trees. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Hewitt, how far are you on your list of your 800 trees?
We've done right around 100 of them. Primarily, Plum Creek subdivision was very heavily planted with ash trees. We have just a few left to do in there. I think we were discussing where we're going to move next. That'll probably be into the Foxwood area. The Foxwood North subdivision has a very high count of ash trees. And then from there, we'll probably move over to the southwest quadrant of town, Schilling subdivision area and in there.
Mr. Volkman, do we have a replacement policy on tree? We're just taking trees that are down in the easements, right?
Just in the parkway,
In the parkway.
just in the road right away. Of the 800 trees, about half of those are on private property. We won't be taking those down.
Oh, so we don't have 800 trees to take down?
We do not. We have about 400 and some.
To which we've done about 100 of. We've got about 300 left.
So the ones on private property will not come down?
Not by the town.
Not by us?
Yeah.
Anything else, Councilman Conley, anything?
One item, as we do every year, we consider the approval of serving beer and wine at both our festival and the corn roast. What I'm proposing tonight is that we also consider not serving but allowing beer and wine the night of the symphony, which is Sunday, August 2nd in Reeder Park. We have to amend our agenda.
Is there a motion to put that on the agenda at the appropriate time?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. We'll add that to the agenda. Thank you, Councilman Conley. Councilman Getzlaff, anything?
I just have one thing I'd like to mention. Unfortunately, I know tomorrow we are on high alert for severe storms. So I'm sure, Jeff, that you'll have your guys on alert also.
We have guys, we spoke to them today before they left work. We'll deal with whatever comes up.
Right. And then, Chief, I mean, we do have the sirens and everything that you will let everybody know it's time to get in the, low ground and,
Absolutely, and they're tested on the first Friday of every month.
Councilman Schmidt, anything else at this time? I just wanted to mention that please keep the family of Debbie Cooper in mind. Debbie Cooper was our payroll administrator for many years in our town. She served 18 years as a dedicated employee of the clerk's treasurer's office. She passed away on March 16th, so just keep her family in prayers. At this time, I'm going to open up to public comments regarding any agenda items. Any public comment on agenda items? Any public comments? Seeing and hearing none, move forward to a public hearing. We have a public hearing this evening regarding the CDBG public hearing. I'm going to make sure at this time we have the approved publications that are in order. Counselor?
They are, I've examined them, timely publication has been made for this public hearing.
Thank you. At this time, again, I said opening remarks for the CDBG public hearing park projects. We have a citizens participation plan, which opens the floor for comments. An affirmative action program implementing Section 3 of the Housing and Urban Development Act of 1968. Lake County, Indiana, Section 3, understanding. There's some reading I need to do here, and I believe we need to read all this, is that correct?
No, you need to read the opening remarks for the CDBG public hearing. You need to invite public input
Okay.
with that, and then reference balance of the documents for insertion into your public meeting record verbatim. Probably does annually for you, and process through the resolution.
At this time, each spring, the Lake County Community Economic Development Department applies to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, for new funding through the Community Development Block Grant Program. One of the application requirements is to hold public hearings in the communities where CDBG funding is allowed in order to obtain input from local citizens on proposed use or uses of the new funding. For fiscal year 2015 and 16, the town of Schererville CDBG allocation is $122,390. The most common use of CDBG funds is for infrastructure, including street reconstruction, sanitary sewers, water line extension, storm drainage improvements, sidewalks, and projects to remove architectural barriers, handicap access, such as curb cuts and wheelchair ramps. CDBG funds may also be used to eliminate slum and blight through demolition of unsafe building and other clearance activities. CDBG funded infrastructure projects may only be done in areas where the neighborhood is at least 51% low to modest income, according to HUD guidelines. In most cases, an income survey must be done to qualify the area for funding eligibility. The income information taken by the survey is strictly confidential and is used solely for the purpose of determining the area's eligibility for CDBG funding. Handicap access projects and demolition may be done anywhere in a community without the need for area income determinations. The public hearing is just the start of the application process for Lake County. There are a series of legal advertisements and comment periods that take place during the summer period to final grant approval from HUD in late August. New CDBG funding is released to the county and its entitlement communities on or around September 1st, and each be expended by June 30th of the following year. After public comments tonight, 3 documents need to be read and adopted: the Affirmative Action Program, Section 3 Understanding, and a resolution authorizing the city town executive to submit a project proposal for CDBG funding. Finally, project applications and supporting documentation need to be submitted no later than May 8, 2015 for review by Lake County. At this time, the floor is open for any comments. Any comments from the public? Any comments from the public? At this time, the public section is closed. It states I need to read the affirmative action, should I?
Can if you want, you don't need to reference it.
Okay. I do have the Affirmative Action Program implementing Section 3 of the Housing and Urban Development Act of 1968. I'd like to enter that into the minutes. Also, the Lake County, Indiana, Section 3 understanding. Any citizens' participation? Also. Thank you, Councilor. Anything else you need to do at this point? We're all good? Good. All right. Thank you, everyone. Next item is a resolution 2015-7, a resolution authorizing and directing the town council president of the town of Schererville to submit a project proposal for community development block grant fund for federal fiscal year 2015 and 16.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
have we decided on a project for these funds, or
Mr. Volkman?
to be determined?
Well, the project hasn't been decided yet because this is the introduction. The consideration is for handicap accessibility improvements to the 3 park washroom facilities: Stevens Park, Gorman Park, and Plum Creek Park.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2015-7.
There's been a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. 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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, gentlemen. We have no old business before us. New business. We have ordinance number 1865, an ordinance providing for additional reduction of appropriations in the general fund departmentalized budget of the town of Schererville for year 2015 and all matters related thereto. Mr. Malinowski, is this an item that you proposed here?
I did, but I'm going to defer to Mr. Bolton to give me an explanation.
Mr. Volkman?
Actually, last year, we did some funding reductions in animal control as we were looking at the budget at the end of the year, not realizing that they had some outstanding invoices for veterinary services that weren't processed due to, delayed billing or actual cases that were going through the court process where remuneration or payment of those bills would have been paid by a third party. So we did some reductions. I provided all of you with an explanation. One of the things that we discovered in animal control is currently we have 2 part-time staff people that aren't able to accommodate within their working schedules all of the needs for the animal control department. We went back historically before the levy freeze, we actually had 2 full-time employees working in animal control, which offers better animal control coverage for the town. I've been working with Chief Dowling and Deputy Chief Zabraki on the needs for that department, and it was determined that it's probably appropriate to increase that staffing level to full-time, so that we have, right now we only provide 48 hours of animal control coverage per week within the town. This would allow us to go up to 80 hours of animal control coverage within the community in a given week. Also, there's a lot of things they do, like adoptions and things on Saturdays and even on Sundays. And the problem we have is we've been taxing the staffing that we have now, or we're just not getting the job done. So there's a need to increase staffing within animal control to meet the needs of our community. This is to transfer some money around so that we can appropriate it, and we'll deal with it on the budget coming July for 2016, but this will take us through the end of the year to accommodate the needs for that department.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I can add to that, this is our general fund, and our general fund is departmentalized over 7 departments. And I have checked with the REDS and the DLGF, the Department of Local Government Finance. And when you're transferring within a department funding, there's no need for a public hearing, and the DLGF does not have to approve, because these funds have already been appropriated.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Volkman, will that expand the hours, longer day?
Yes. I've talked to Dennis and Dave, and they can elaborate more on the scheduling, but the idea is actually on a given day, we'll have an animal control officer start in the morning, and the second one start later in the day, so that we'll actually have coverage going into the evening hours, and then they will also have shifts where they work on weekends as well.
Thank you. Mr. President?
Yes, Councilman Schmidt.
I move to approve ordinance 1865.
There's a motion to approve the ordinance 1865. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any additional discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Are 2 readings required?
Yes.
I'll make the motion to adopt.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is ordinance number 1866, which is an ordinance amending town ordinance 1859, being an ordinance establishing an activity fee schedule for the town department of Parks and Recreation and all matters related thereto, and repealing all town code sections or town ordinances or parts thereof in conflict with herewith. Mr. Volkman?
This is just from the park department, it's for some events that they have. If you look in the back of the exhibit A, there's actually 4 things. It's a Cubs trip, Little Kites Play School, Snag Golf, which I'm not sure what that is, and cheerleading. So these are programs, these are the fees associated with those programs or outings.
So we have 3 new price changes for 3 of those items and then 1 new activity. Okay. Pleasure of the council on ordinance number 1866.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Next item C, we have bid for road materials. Mr. Volkman or Hewitt?
Mr. Hewitt, okay.
We submitted our yearly bid request for our local contractors for our poured-in-place concrete, concrete disposal, and road materials, stone, salt, stone, sand, dirt, that type of thing. On the road materials, I am recommending that the bid go to Walters Excavation. On the concrete disposal, I am recommending that the bid go to Walters Excavation. And on the poured-in-place concrete, the recommendation is that the bid go to COEX for the year.
sorry, Jeff, I didn't hear, did you say Walters was the road and the concrete?
Was concrete disposal and road materials, stone, sand, dirt.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the bids for the road materials.
Second with discussion.
Second?
Mr. Hewitt, who did our concrete work last year?
That was Coex.
Same company? Okay, good.
The bidding on the concrete the board in place was very tight this year. What I did is I took last year's quantities, I related those quantities to this year's, and the two companies, the two low bidders were just a little over $1,000 apart, about 2%. Very good competitive bidding this year.
Mr. Chairman, one more question for Mr. Hewitt. Mr. Hewitt, are you evaluating roads as we speak, or do you have a list? I know there was a few that didn't get done from last year.
We typically do a complete pacer evaluation every other year. We typically do that in the even-numbered years, so we're not scheduled to do that. But we did identify plenty of work last year to move forward with this year. And I expect that you will have a preliminary proposal for discussion before your May meeting. The asphalt plants we'll probably see them open up next week, but they won't be making surface mix for about 2 to 3 more weeks. They typically let the temperature come up a little higher before they start making surface mix.
Thank you, Mr. Hewitt.
Any additional discussion on road bids? Motion made.
Not on the bids, but I do have a question for Jeff. On that repair over there on 30 in Robinwood, when will that be filled?
We're still evaluating what's going to be replaced as far as water main. We will get it, at least a temporary patch put in that, but we may also have to tear it up again when we do look at the ultimate disposal or what we're going to do with the water main under there.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor for the recommendation from Jeff Hewitt on road materials, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item, gentlemen, we have to award a bid for demolition of 39 West Joliet Street. Mr. Volkman, you want to mention this?
Yes, Mr. Coxell. This is the old laundromat. We did receive quotes on the demolition of that property, and I'm suggesting the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, which is Acton Contracting LLC of East Chicago, for a total price of $29,430.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Schmidt?
Mr. Volkman, does this company have proper permits to do work in Schererville?
I'm not sure if they're licensed as a contractor, but they would, I'm pretty sure that they are, but I'll have to check and see if they're up to date. They do work for our wastewater treatment plant. They do the vacuum and stuff like that. They probably work out at BP too. And, so they are, a licensed contractor. Whether they're up to date or not, I don't know, but they will have to be before they start the project. We still have to get IDM permits and everything else for demolition.
When was that work to be taking place?
As soon as possible.
Okay,
But
good.
at least 2 weeks away, because that's how long it takes to process the item.
Sure. All right, is there a motion and a second? Any discussion? Any more? Hearing seen, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
I think you need a motion, Mr.
All right, I couldn't remember if I did or not. Is there a motion then?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second, any additional discussion? Hearing seen, none, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Motion to oppose? Hearing seen, none, motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Next item E. We have considered a variance of use to allow operation of a retail store importing new items from an international destinations, corporate offices, and resale of gently used items to benefit the community and promote international commerce. This is a Board of Zoning Appeals case number 15-3-4. Petitioner Karen Skringa, Hera, and Holly Kobe, Hearts in Motion. Locations at 2210 US 41. has come to us as a favorable recommendation by the BZA 4-0.
Where is exactly the location?
This is in the Corman's complex.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Corman's complex?
Okay.
Pleasure of the council members.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion, a second, any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask Mr. Getzlaw to include the findings of fact in his motion, please.
So we,
It's
Thanks.
been amended. Everybody okay?
Second amendment.
All right, all in favor, so saying aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Next, item F. Consider variance of use to allow the personal use and enjoyment of family-owned property to include an exercise arena, pasture, and an ancillary structure, architectural structure to house 3 family-owned horses. This is a Board of Zoning Appeals case number 15-2-5. Petitioner Ron and Joanne Lewis. Location 1620-3 Klein Avenue. Comes to us as a favor recommendation by the BZA 4-0.
the only thing I'd like to ask is that, they do have the proper acreage to have the.
They do. They actually have, they have some subdividing they do now because it's a conglomeration of parcels that have to be codified into a subdivision, either a 1 lot or 2 or 3 lots, but they're all large lots that back up. Their west boundary would be Sherwood Club, and they're behind, they're kind of north on Klein Avenue past Turkey Creek on the west side.
With that, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second, discussion. During the, I was at the BZA meeting, the BZA put a restriction on that this variance be only to the current owner and not passed along. And there was some discussion as to make sure that if that property were to be sold and subdivided, that they would not still be able to ride horses on the property.
Mr. President, Mr. Councilman.
A zoning commitment would be required so that it would be a recordable instrument that would run with the land. If there were a transfer of ownership, it would be on the chain of title to the next owner, so it raises the flag of propriety or non-propriety.
So we're okay.
As long as there's a zoning commitment, it's a recordable instrument and it is recorded actually.
I would direct Attorney Washington to prepare that document for recordation and approval.
Can we make the approval contingent upon the zoning commitment?
You may, permitted to do so when you're advised.
So moved on contingency.
And I'll second the amended motion.
Mr. President,
Yes.
Bob, I'm sorry, one more time, where, the exact location? How far by?
You know where Kreider's houses are, the Kreider family? It's right there, they're part of that.
Mr. Bowden, Mr. Chairman.
Go right ahead.
Mr. Bowden, the only thing that I would like to see, if there are certain things that are made mention at the planning, BZA or whatever, BZA, correct? That is documented here so that we can see that, because if Mr. Tippy did not attend.
The findings are attached here.
I just went through them and I didn't see that.
I didn't see it in here.
Not for that case.
It typically is in there, I think it just got missed.
Unless I missed it.
Yeah, we had the previous case, but not this one.
The findings are on the back.
It's on the back.
Yeah, this one right here. I went through it real quick, maybe I read over it, but I didn't see it.
No, it's
Oh,
on
here
the-
they are, here they
It's on
are.
the back side of it.
I know, I'm looking at it.
Yeah, the findings are here, but
It's not stating what Jerry asked to put into
the specific finding is not there. I didn't see it. I think she just missed it.
Yeah, okay. I'm just saying so that we know that we're voting on the proper thing.
All right, there's a motion and second. Any additional discussion? Ms. Island? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Next item G, consider approval of agreement between Robbins Engineering and the town of Schererville for design engineering services for bike path from Pensy Greenway Trail to Erie Lackawanna Trail project not to exceed $89,778. Mr. Volkman, you want to brief us on this?
Actually, I'll move to, Mr. Pintar.
Mr. Pinter, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Volkman, Mr. Troxel. Back in 2013, the town had asked Robinson Engineering to look at different possibilities of connecting both the Pensy Greenway Trail to the Erie Lackawanna Trail. We came up with a series of 5 alignments. After vetting that with Plan Commission and with staff, we came up with a preferred route. Since that time, we've pursued federal funding, and unfortunately, we have not scored well enough to get that funding. So we're at the point where we're ready to pursue this design of the trail. And just for just a brief discussion purposes, general scope, we would pick up the trail, would start at the Pensy Greenway where it connects at US 30 just west of Klein Avenue. Where actually our alignment shows it's going to be an off-street bituminous multi-use path that would extend eastward on the US 30 right-of-way. We've conferred with NDOT. They have no objections to this. We will take that east of Klein Avenue to the, pretty much, I believe it's called the Fawn Plaza, and then head north adjacent to the Fawn Plaza. And the remainder of the path would be off-street along 75th, all the way to the Erie Lackawanna. It'll be a multi-use path, like 10-foot wide in most locations. The engineering will include a full topographic survey, property surveys, right-of-way, documents for property acquisition easements if needed, full design, engineering plans and specifications and bid documents for the town to go out to bid for construction.
Thank you. Any questions?
Chairman,
Councilman Schmidt?
Mr. Pintar, how did you come to the conclusion of the route that you decided?
It's the most direct route. We want to cross Klein Avenue at the traffic signal. That's the safest route at Klein and 30. So crossing a multi-use path at a traffic signal was one of the goals from a safety standpoint. The available right-of-way of US 30, it's there, it's wide enough. We conferred with NDOT, so that in and of itself creates an easy path. And then the use of 75th, it appears that there's enough right-of-way to have the multi-use path on the south side. Typically, when you're looking at bike paths, we've looked at a few in town, and then our other experience, having enough right-of-way to put a multi-use path either on a roadway right-of-way or adjacent to subdivisions, you tend to start needing additional right-of-way and easements. The alignment, as I mentioned, we conferred with staff. This is the path of least resistance and probably provide the most benefit for the bike users.
Mr. Volkman, is this the same project that initially we talked about down by Burr Street?
No, there's actually 2 projects. The Burr Street project is designed. We have a few challenges in acquiring the needed right-of-way and easements that we're still working on with the property owner that's actually in the county, that's just to the south of Foxwood Villas. But on this project too, just for Jeff's information, we have a lot of survey data in the town GIS that is certainly available to, I can get transferred to you. You might save you some surveying dollars.
Well, yes, definitely whatever you have available. And this is a not to exceed contract, so whatever is not utilized, it's not a lump sum contract by any means.
Good, thank you. Pleasure of council members on this item.
So moved.
Been a motion?
Second.
And a second, any additional discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Mr. President,
Yes, Councilor.
so Jeff will clarify this. The letter proposal does not say not to exceed. It says the cost is the number 89,000. The agenda says it's a not to exceed number. Need clarity on that before you sign this document.
I second it.
Rob,
sorry, I should have said that's.
I'll amend it.
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed the 89,
Only
dollars
for
per
clarification.
And I amend mine second.
So it's been adjusted, I'll ask for a vote again, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Good item. Next item, we have, consider request from Schererville Parks Department to serve beer and wine at the Reeder Park Market, held at Reeder Park on Thursdays from May 14, 2015 through September 17, 2015. Pleasure of council members, this is an annual item that we always do.
So moved.
No motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Second, any discussion on this item? Hearing, seeing none, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I believe you said the Reeder Park Market,
That's what it says here.
but you read the dates of the festival, so I think you just.
No, May 14, 2015 through September 17.
Yeah, we skipped item H.
Yeah.
We just voted on item I.
Oh. Well, item I, we voted on it, right?
Yeah, we're done with I, we can go back to H.
Apparently I had this vision. All right, moving backwards, we'll go on to H. Consider request from Schererville Park Service to serve beer and wine at the Celebrate Schererville Festival, held at Reeder Park from Wednesday, June 17, 2015 through Sunday, June 21st, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? Dates are correct. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item J, consider request from Schererville Chamber of Commerce to serve beer and wine at the annual corn roast held at Reeder Park on July 31st, 2015.
So moved.
Hear a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing, seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item J, number 1, is consider request for the town of Schererville to hold an annual symphony at Reeder Park on August 2nd at 5 p.m. and to allow beer and wine to be allowed to be taken into the park that night. Is that a proper motion? Is it? So clear everything in there?
Second.
The motion and a second, any discussion on that?
And Mr. Chairman, should we state that it's limited to 8 o'clock or, I don't know, I'm just throwing out there so that people don't sit there and drink all night in the park?
Through the hours of the concert and 1 hour afterwards?
The symphony starts at 5, right?
Right, it starts at 5 and it should go until 7.
Probably to allow from 5 to 8,
I'd say 5 to 8, or maybe 4 to 8. People get there early.
4 to 8.
Chief Dowling, any concern on that?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
So moved.
There's a motion with the amendment and seconded. Any additional discussion? Hearing, seen none, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Conley. Item K, proclaim May 12, 2015 as Fibromyalgia Awareness Day in the town of Schererville. I have a proclamation, so bear with me. Proclamation for Fibromyalgia Awareness Day, whereas an estimated 10 million people in the United States and millions of people worldwide have been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, a disease for which there is no known cause or cure. And whereas it often takes an average of 5 years to receive diagnosis from fibromyalgia, and medical professionals frequently are inadequately educated on the diagnosis and treatment of fibromyalgia. And whereas fibromyalgia is a chronic pain disorder, becoming an increasingly common diagnosis and taking a toll emotionally, financially, and socially on patients, their families, friends, co-workers, and community. And whereas people with fibromyalgia are never completely symptom-free, they are always in pain, this pain impacts every area of their life, and others must step up to fill the voids left when their patients' efforts are focused on just getting through the day, showing just how much fibromyalgia truly hurts everyone. And whereas the chronically ill place a large burden on the healthcare and insurance industries and businesses that must cover the costly expenses associated with their treatment, medications, and sometimes hospitalizations. And whereas increased awareness and expanded knowledge of the realities of life with fibromyalgia and allow the community with a larger large to better support patients and their family, friends, co-workers, and employers who struggle with the challenges of this chronic pain disorder. And whereas Fibromites Unite, a local fibromyalgia support group, the National Fibromyalgia and Chronic Pain Association, the Fibromyalgia Network, and other groups around the country have joined together to promote fibromyalgia awareness and support, include improved education, diagnosis, research, and treatment. Now therefore, I, Michael Troxel, Town Council President, do hereby recognize the needs of those chronically ill people and proclaim May 12, 2015 as Fibromyalgia Awareness Day in the town of Schererville, and urge all citizens to support the search and cure and assist those individuals and families who deal with this devastating disorder on a daily basis. It is 8th day of April 2015.
So moved, Mr. Troxel.
There's a motion.
Second.
Seconds. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have consider request for donation to the Chicago Metro Police softball team for participation in the World Series.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Schmidt.
As we talked about last month, or a few weeks ago, we have some of our officers that are in our police department that participate in this World Series softball. It's something that they've been doing for years, and one of our officers, matter of fact, I believe is the manager of it and stuff. So they are going to the World Series, Olympic World Series, and they're looking for sponsorships to help the cause for that. And my recommendation would be to donate $1,000 to them for their cause, and it looks like that would give us a silver sponsorship according to the brochure.
Very good. There's been a motion for $1,000 to the Chicago Metro Police softball team.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. President, is that, we've made a similar contribution in the past, is that correct?
We have.
What we did is, if you remember, Joe Usabel participated in the Viking Olympics, police officers, several years ago. It was actually, I got the minutes from the meeting, we gave Officer Usabel, that was in 2005, we gave him $300 to go to that event. I think we have 3 officers going that are on this team.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is item M, is consider request number 2 for disbursements for the 2013 B-Bond Series for Shop Sign Main Phase 2 Whole Foods, $1 million. This is the same item we did on our redevelopment council meeting earlier.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Last item on the agenda here is donations. We have consider acceptance of donations totaling $3,100. There's only one. If you don't mind, I'll go ahead and read it.
It was for $3,100, and if I could just explain, I believe it was a restricted donation.
Go right ahead.
Animal control for a new washer, dryer, and refrigerator.
Yes.
Am I correct in saying that? I
Yes.
just wanted to state it was restricted.
So it's restricted to a washer, dryer, and any other appliances for the animal control area for $3,100.
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Motion.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. For that donation. At this time, I'd like to open it. This is
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Bolton, can you please have a letter drafted, a thank you letter to the Mrs. Hoffman, I believe is the one that donated the $3,100 from the parks, or the police department?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we've been in contact with Jerry Franklin, making a donation, and we will, in fact, we're going to have a plaque put down at the other control center in his wife's memory, so we'll take care of that. We have to take care of it.
Thank you.
any business on the floor regarding town council business? Any business on the floor?